Okay, so the last time that I was in a church before I went to St. Margaret's, the second service I went to, they started preaching about how gay people were going to hell. And I immediately tried to leave, and they kind of like tried to block my path. It was not a fun experience,
They
but
tried to block your path.
yeah, I was on a bicycle and they actually tried to take my bike from me. So I went to Pride in Carrollton a couple of years ago and met Doc, who was the choir master at the Episcopal Church St. Margaret's in Carrollton, and he asked me to be in the choir, and I said yes. He was very much interested in working with someone who is trans, just because when you're on testosterone and your voice changes so much, he was really interested to see how exactly that would work in the choir. So it took a couple of months for me to get the courage up to go, but I immediately went into the choir, and it's a lot of fun. I have a blast. He's awesome. I'm very much the kind of person that just believes in the universe. I think all faiths are equally possible, probable, beautiful. And so I never thought that I would be in a church and calling myself Episcopalian.
We were just talking about people who go to my church, and we have people who go to Dragon Con every year, and we have theatrical people, and we have two professional actors. My senior warden is a professional actor, and we seem to have a disproportionate number of people who like that kind of thing. So she said, what if we went to Dragon Con and just had a sign? And there are rules when you go to Dragon Con, like you can't give out handbills, for example. So I can't give out things that say the Episcopal Church. I can't give out things that say Church of Our Savior. But one thing that's been happening over and over again at this church, maybe it happens at every church, I don't know, but we're very unusual. We're very traditional. We're right one. We're east facing. We have a confessional. We're very old school, but we're also full of like people who like to dress up, and we've got a lot of people on the LGBTQ. And over again, I get told by people who manage to find us, I didn't know this church existed. If I knew about it, I would have been here a long time ago. And so I think, all right, who else is out there who would absolutely love this place? And we're not for everybody. We know that. We know that we are unusual. We know that most churches in the diocese are right too. Most of them don't do incense and bells and all the mystical stuff that we do, but there are people that really, really like that. Maybe they're Roman Catholics who don't think that there's a place for them because they're gay, or maybe they're, fill in the blank. This past Dragon Con, one of the things that it says on the sign that I keep with me is, just to talk, counsel, or confession. I heard somebody's confession in a stairwell at Dragon Con. There's some guy that regularly shows up outside with a bullhorn that tells them they're all going to hell. And so I'm like, I haven't found him yet when I've been there, but because my parishioners are like, I have a parishioner that says, I have a bullhorn if you want it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but I never found this guy. So like, I feel like I'm the counter to that, the antidote, or whatever word you want to use.
Yeah,
I'm
like
the
that.
polar opposite of that. So some people just look at me and they don't engage, and that's okay, because like they read the sign, they see me, and they know that I exist, and they know that the Episcopal Church exists. They know that there's a place. They might not decide to do anything about it. They might not think about this until 3 years from now. I'm not afraid to use the E word. I know a lot of people are allergic to it, especially Episcopalians, like evangelism. No, we don't. But I think we should. And I think one thing that I've said to people, the Episcopal Church is the best kept secret in Christianity. And the Anglo-Catholic tradition inside of the Episcopal Church, which Church of Our Savior is, we're like the best kept secret inside of the Episcopal Church. And my goal is to just let people know that we're there.
We kept running into the priest of St. John's in various restaurants as we went out for dinners. And we always were invited to come. Myself growing up as Baptist and my partner growing up Roman Catholic, we decided to go visit St. John's. and see what it was all about. And we immediately felt welcomed. It's only 3 blocks from our home, and we started attending and became members. Grace Lunsford, which has become a member of our church, she had the idea for a children's choir and came to visit our church and ran into our priest, Tim Black. And they were surprised to see each other since she knew him from before. And so they started talking, and they both had the same idea of having a kids choir. And Father Tim immediately said, well, call it, St. John's would be a perfect place to host such an event. And it really has since then. This is our 3rd term, and we have 18 this term. And each term has increased in number. They meet once a week on Wednesday nights from 4:30 to 5:30. And also we have Wednesday night dinner at church. And it was a perfect opportunity for them to come and have dinner, so that way the parents wouldn't have to rush home and fix dinner. So it's evolved into a really good, time and fellowship.
It's community. Yeah,
Yes,
you're
it is
building
community, yes. Midway through the term, they will come and do a small program, like 2 or 3 songs during our worship service. And that's like in the middle of their term. And then at the end of their term, they do present an hour-long concert, which is really fabulous. It's very unique in that in between each songs, usually they have about 12 to 14 songs, and each child will take a moment to introduce the next song and talk about it and how it evolved and what it means to them. To me, we're a small parish, and we're right in the middle of a residential area. So we have met neighbors, and they've come to church. And for me, it's very uplifting because since my onset of joining, I've seen the church grow.
Well, more financial than anything. As treasurer of St. John's, I see that side of it. But I have been the recipient of incredible music. So we're good at liturgy, we're good at ritual, but the people and the love keeps coming back every time. We underwrite the choir. The kids, parents pay for the kids to be in the choir, $100 a term. So, but we have scholarships available. And if we can't afford at the end of a term all the money needed for the choir director, then we underwrite that out of our outreach budget, which is minimal. There's a lot of volunteerism that goes with it. I mean, if you put the total cost of hours of volunteer, there's no way you could afford it. But one of our parents, Grace Lunsford, has just been incredible. Dr. Kelly is working for peanuts as a paid professional, but she loves doing it. So it all comes together for us. St. John's is sort of the vessel to deliver this. We don't own it, we support it.
St. Bede's started an ESOL program, a new iteration, in 2013, January of 2013. His Latino missioner at that time, Father Fabio Sotelo, who's now rector of St. Edward's. He's when he asks you to do something, he's a hard man to refuse. So he said, Claudia, why don't you start an ESOL program? I know you used to teach when they had a program, 15 years ago. I said, yeah, okay, fine, I'll do it. So I got it started and brought another person into it, and it has grown immensely over the last 11, 12 years. We totally redid those classrooms, put new carpet. Instead of little tables and little chairs, we got really good quality tables and chairs, whiteboards, high quality whiteboards. It was fantastic. It made it we call it the mission wing, and it's used by many groups, but it's especially used by ESOL. So on any given Tuesday or Thursday evening, we have, 50 or 60 people, maybe more, depending on the day, taking classes, and that's not counting their children because they bring their children, and we provide care for their children. We've hired people actually from our congregation to do that, bilingual people to do that. We finish each semester with the celebration, but the end of the year one, which is May, we had a couple who took classes with us. They came here in 2017 from Venezuela. And the husband, Cristobal, had said from the beginning, my goal is in 5 years to become a citizen. We helped them prepare for exam, and they took classes on preparing for the exam through a Baptist church in our neighborhood. And they became citizens. They passed their citizenship test. One of our teachers, their teacher, Penny Ratliff, who is not a member of St. Bede, she's a member of Decatur Methodist, she said, I've got an idea. I'm going to get them a United States flag that's flown over the Capitol. And she got it for the day that they passed their citizenship exams. And so at this end of the year party, she presented the flag and explained what the flag was for. And they were just very touched by that. But we've been told that we, the community of teachers and people at St. Bede's, are the only Americans that these people who are trying to learn English have as friends. We are the only ones that they can really learn about our culture from, talk with. We help them when they have difficulties. But by the same token, we are fed by them because, I can be in a horrible mood and feel I don't have time to teach. I spend an hour and a half with my class, and we're laughing, we're working together, we're struggling over the present continuous, and I feel energized. I feel that I have received. So it's feeding all of us. It makes me think of that hymn we sing. St. Francis wrote the words, Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace. It ends with something like, in giving we receive, and in forgiving we are forgiven. And that, I just feel that's so true for us. We're giving of our time and our energy, but we are also receiving.